Economy 101. Introduction. Economics is a complex and constantly evolving field that has a profound impact on our daily lives. From the prices we pay for goods and services to the availability of jobs and the overall health of our communities, economic forces play a critical role in shaping the world around us. In this paper, we will explore a range of topics related to economics and finance, from the basics of supply and demand to the complex issues of economic globalization and the impact of technology on the job market. We will examine the role of international trade, taxes, and the Federal Reserve in shaping the economy, as well as the lessons we can learn from economic crises throughout history. We will also discuss the importance of understanding the economics of climate change and the need for policies that promote social and economic equity. We will explore the ways in which economic policy can shape society and politics, from income and wealth inequality to social and environmental issues. Finally, we will turn our attention to the future of work and how the economy is changing, including the growing importance of non-standard work arrangements and the need for workers to develop new skills to adapt to a rapidly changing job market. Throughout our discussion, we will emphasize the importance of policymakers carefully considering the social, economic, and environmental implications of their decisions, as well as the need for investment in education and training programs to support workers and promote economic growth.
Why understanding the economy matters. Understanding the economy is crucial for individuals, businesses, and governments alike. The economy affects our daily lives in countless ways, from the prices we pay for goods and services to the availability of jobs and the state of public services. By understanding the basic principles of the economy, such as supply and demand, inflation, and economic growth, we can make informed decisions about our own finances and investments. For individuals, understanding the economy can help with personal finance decisions, such as budgeting, saving, and investing. By understanding the factors that impact prices, such as supply and demand, individuals can make better purchasing decisions and avoid overspending. Knowledge of inflation can also help individuals plan for the future and make informed decisions about retirement savings and other long-term investments. For businesses, understanding the economy is essential for making strategic decisions about production, pricing, and hiring. By analyzing economic trends, such as consumer spending and interest rates, businesses can make informed decisions about expanding or contracting their operations and can adjust their pricing strategies accordingly. Understanding economic policies and regulations is also important for businesses, as they can impact industry competition, market entry barriers, and other factors that affect profitability. For governments, understanding the economy is important for setting economic policies that promote growth, stability, and social welfare. Economic policies, such as tax rates, social welfare programs, and regulations, can have significant impacts on the economy, influencing economic growth, employment, and inflation rates. The distributional impacts of economic policy can also create winners and losers, influencing social mobility and income inequality. By understanding the economy, governments can make informed decisions about economic policy that foster inclusive and sustainable economic growth. In addition to personal finance, business strategy, and government policy, understanding the economy is also important for a variety of other reasons. For example, economic factors can impact access to healthcare, education, and other public services. Economic growth and employment rates can also impact crime rates and other social indicators. Furthermore, understanding the economy is important for fostering informed public debate and political discourse, as economic issues often play a central role in political campaigns and policy debates. One of the fundamental principles of the economy is the law of supply and demand. This law states that the price of a good or service is determined by the balance between the amount of that good or service available, supply, and the amount that consumers want to buy, demand. For example, if the supply of a particular good or service is high, and the demand is low, the price will be low. Conversely, if the supply is low and the demand is high, the price will be high. Inflation is another important economic concept. Inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and the value of money is decreasing. In other words, inflation reduces the purchasing power of your money over time. When prices rise, your money buys fewer goods and services, which means that you have to spend more money to maintain your standard of living. Inflation can be caused by a variety of factors, such as increased demand, higher production costs, and changes in government policies. Economic growth is another important concept that is closely tied to the health of the economy. Economic growth refers to the increase in the production of goods and services over time. It is usually measured in terms of gross domestic product, GDP, which represents the total value of all goods and services produced within a country's borders during a specific period, usually a year. Economic growth can be influenced by a variety of factors, such as technological advancements, changes in government policies, and shifts in consumer preferences.
The role of supply and demand in the economy. Supply and demand are the fundamental building blocks of the economy. Supply refers to the amount of a good or service that is available, while demand refers to the amount of that good or service that consumers want to buy. When supply and demand are in balance, prices are stable. However, when there is excess supply, prices tend to decrease, while excess demand leads to price increases. This dynamic is at the heart of the market economy, as it determines the prices we pay for goods and services, and ultimately shapes production and consumption patterns. The law of supply and demand is one of the most fundamental principles in economics. It states that the price of a good or service is determined by the balance between the amount of that good or service available, supply, and the amount that consumers want to buy, demand. For example, if the supply of a particular good or service is high and the demand is low, the price will be low. Conversely, if the supply is low and the demand is high, the price will be high. The law of supply and demand is one of the reasons why prices fluctuate over time and why they can vary from one market to another. Supply and demand have a significant impact on the economy. When demand for a particular good or service increases, businesses may increase production to meet that demand, which can lead to job creation and economic growth. On the other hand, if demand decreases, businesses may cut production and jobs, leading to economic contraction. Additionally, changes in supply and demand can impact prices, which can influence consumer behavior and overall economic activity. In addition to affecting individual markets, supply and demand also play a key role in determining the overall health of the economy. When there is a balance between supply and demand, it can lead to stable prices and economic growth. However, when there is a significant imbalance, such as a shortage or excess of a particular good or service, it can lead to economic instability and uncertainty. This is because imbalances can lead to price volatility, which can impact business decisions and consumer behavior. For example, during times of excess supply, prices tend to decrease, which can make it more difficult for businesses to earn a profit. This can lead to business closures, job losses, and decreased economic activity. Conversely, during times of excess demand, prices tend to increase, which can lead to inflation and decreased purchasing power for consumers. This can impact the overall economy by reducing consumer spending and dampening economic growth. Governments can use economic policies to manage imbalances between supply and demand. For example, during times of economic contraction, governments may use fiscal policy, such as increased government spending or tax cuts, to stimulate demand and increase economic activity. Alternatively, during times of excess demand, governments may use monetary policy, such as raising interest rates or reducing the money supply, to decrease demand and control inflation. Understanding supply and demand is important for businesses and individuals alike, as it can impact everything from pricing decisions to investment strategies. For businesses, understanding supply and demand can help with strategic decisions about production levels and pricing. By analyzing market trends and consumer behavior, businesses can adjust their production levels to meet demand and price their goods and services competitively. For individuals, understanding supply and demand can help with personal finance decisions, such as buying a home or investing in stocks. By understanding the factors that impact prices, individuals can make informed decisions about when and where to make investments.
Inflation 101: What it is and how it affects you. Inflation is the rate at which the general level of prices for goods and services is rising, and the value of money is decreasing. In other words, inflation reduces the purchasing power of your money over time. When prices rise, your money buys fewer goods and services, which means that you must spend more money to maintain your standard of living. Inflation can be caused by a variety of factors, such as increased demand, higher production costs, and changes in government policies. Inflation can have significant impacts on individuals, businesses, and the overall economy. For individuals, inflation can lead to higher prices for goods and services, which can impact purchasing power and overall quality of life. This can be particularly challenging for individuals on fixed incomes, such as retirees or those with disabilities, who may struggle to keep up with rising prices. Additionally, inflation can impact savings and investments, as the value of money decreases over time. For businesses, inflation can impact costs and profitability. When production costs increase due to inflation, businesses may have to raise prices to maintain profitability. This can impact consumer behavior and overall economic activity, as higher prices can lead to decreased demand and reduced economic growth. Alternatively, businesses may have to absorb the increased costs, which can impact profitability and lead to business closures and job losses. Inflation can also impact the overall economy by reducing consumer spending and dampening economic growth. When prices rise, consumers may have to cut back on spending to maintain their standard of living, which can lead to decreased demand for goods and services. This can impact business profitability and lead to decreased economic activity. In addition, inflation can lead to higher interest rates, which can impact borrowing costs and investment decisions. Governments can use economic policies to manage inflation. One common policy is monetary policy, which involves adjusting interest rates and the money supply to control inflation. For example, if inflation is high, the central bank may raise interest rates to reduce demand and control inflation. Conversely, if inflation is low, the central bank may lower interest rates to stimulate demand and encourage economic growth. Governments can also use fiscal policy, such as changes to tax rates and government spending, to manage inflation. Understanding inflation is important for individuals and businesses alike, as it can impact everything from pricing decisions to investment strategies. For individuals, understanding inflation can help with personal finance decisions, such as budgeting, saving, and investing. By understanding the factors that impact inflation, individuals can make informed decisions about retirement savings and other long-term investments. For businesses, understanding inflation can help with strategic decisions about production levels and pricing. By analyzing market trends and consumer behavior, businesses can adjust their production levels and pricing strategies to account for inflation. Additionally, businesses can use inflation-indexed contracts to protect against the impacts of inflation. There are several ways to measure inflation. One common measure is the Consumer Price Index, CPI, which tracks the price changes of a basket of goods and services over time. The CPI is often used as a benchmark for measuring inflation, as it provides a comprehensive picture of price changes across a wide range of goods and services. Other measures of inflation include the Producer Price Index, PPI, which measures the price changes of goods and services at the wholesale level, and the GDP deflator, which measures inflation across the entire economy.
The benefits and pitfalls of a free market economy. A free market economy is an economic system in which the prices of goods and services are determined by supply and demand, with little or no government intervention. In a free market economy, individuals and businesses are free to make their own decisions about what to produce, how to produce it, and how to distribute it. While a free market economy has its benefits, there are also pitfalls that must be considered. Benefits of a free market economy. Efficiency. In a free market economy, resources are allocated based on the decisions of individuals and businesses. This means that resources are allocated based on demand, and production is determined by the market. This leads to an efficient allocation of resources, as prices guide production decisions and ensure that resources are used in the most productive way possible. Innovation. A free market economy encourages innovation, as businesses are free to develop new products and services based on market demand. This can lead to technological advancements, improved products and services, and increased productivity. Consumer choice. In a free market economy, consumers have the freedom to choose from a wide range of goods and services. This encourages businesses to offer high-quality products and services at competitive prices, which benefits consumers. Economic growth. A free market economy can lead to economic growth, as businesses are free to invest in new projects and expand their operations. This can lead to job creation, increased production, and increased economic activity. Pitfalls of a free market economy. Inequality. A free market economy can lead to income inequality, as some individuals and businesses may have more resources and opportunities than others. This can lead to a concentration of wealth and power in the hands of a few, which can have negative impacts on social and economic stability. Externalities. A free market economy may not take into account externalities, such as pollution and other negative impacts on the environment or public health. This can lead to social costs that are not reflected in the price of goods and services, which can have negative impacts on society. Market failure. A free market economy may not always function efficiently, as there may be situations in which markets fail to allocate resources efficiently. For example, in situations where there are natural monopolies or significant barriers to entry, competition may not function effectively. Inadequate social safety net. A free market economy may not provide an adequate social safety net for individuals who are unable to participate fully in the economy, such as those who are unemployed or underemployed. This can lead to social and economic instability. To address these pitfalls, many countries have developed mixed economies, which combine elements of free market and government intervention. Mixed economies typically involve government regulation and intervention in areas such as environmental protection, consumer protection, and social welfare programs.
Understanding gross domestic product, GDP. Gross domestic product, GDP, is a key economic indicator that measures the value of all goods and services produced within a country's borders during a specified period, typically a year. GDP is used to gauge the overall health of an economy and is an important tool for policymakers, investors, and businesses. GDP is calculated by adding up the value of all final goods and services produced in a country during a specified period. This includes everything from cars and computers to haircuts and healthcare. To avoid double counting, only final goods and services are included in GDP, not intermediate goods that are used in the production process. There are three main approaches to calculating GDP: the expenditure approach, the production approach, and the income approach. The expenditure approach adds up the total amount spent on goods and services by consumers, businesses, government, and net exports, exports minus imports. The production approach adds up the total value of all goods and services produced within a country's borders, regardless of who purchases them. The income approach adds up the total income earned by workers, businesses, and government in the production of goods and services. GDP can be broken down into several components, including consumption, investment, government spending, and net exports. Consumption refers to the amount spent by households on goods and services, such as food, housing, and entertainment. Investment refers to the amount spent by businesses on capital goods, such as machinery, equipment, and buildings. Government spending includes everything from defense and infrastructure to social welfare programs. Net exports refer to the difference between the value of a country's exports and imports. GDP is an important indicator of economic performance, as it reflects the overall level of economic activity within a country. When GDP is growing, it generally indicates that the economy is expanding and businesses are generating more revenue. This can lead to job creation, increased consumer spending, and overall economic growth. On the other hand, when GDP is shrinking, it generally indicates that the economy is contracting and businesses are generating less revenue. This can lead to job losses, decreased consumer spending, and economic contraction. However, GDP has its limitations as an economic indicator. For example, it does not account for non-market goods and services, such as unpaid work performed by individuals in the home. Additionally, it does not consider the distribution of wealth within a country, which can have important implications for social and economic stability. Furthermore, GDP may not accurately reflect the overall well-being of a society. For example, a country with a high GDP may have significant environmental problems or social inequality that are not reflected in the economic indicator. Additionally, GDP may not consider the value of intangible factors, such as happiness or social cohesion. Despite its limitations, GDP remains a widely used economic indicator and is an important tool for policymakers, investors, and businesses. Governments use GDP to track economic growth, set fiscal and monetary policies, and evaluate the effectiveness of economic policies. Investors use GDP to assess the performance of markets and industries, and businesses use it to make strategic decisions about investment and production.
The impact of international trade on the economy. International trade refers to the exchange of goods and services between countries. Trade has significant impacts on the economy, both in terms of economic growth and job creation. International trade can lead to increased competition, lower prices, and access to a wider range of goods and services. However, it can also lead to job losses, environmental degradation, and social inequality. One of the primary benefits of international trade is increased economic growth. When countries trade with each other, they can access new markets and expand their customer base. This can lead to increased sales and revenue for businesses, which can stimulate economic growth. Additionally, international trade can lead to increased productivity and efficiency, as businesses are forced to compete to offer the best products at the lowest prices. Another benefit of international trade is increased job creation. When businesses can sell their products and services in new markets, they may need to hire additional workers to meet demand. Additionally, international trade can lead to the creation of new industries and new jobs, such as in the areas of logistics and transportation. However, international trade can also have negative impacts on the economy. One of the primary negative impacts is job losses, particularly in industries that are unable to compete with cheaper imports. This can lead to unemployment and social instability, particularly in areas that rely heavily on a particular industry. Additionally, international trade can lead to environmental degradation, as businesses may be more likely to exploit natural resources to lower production costs. International trade can also lead to social inequality, both within countries and between countries. Within countries, trade can lead to job losses and wage stagnation for workers in certain industries, while benefiting those in other industries. Between countries, trade can lead to a concentration of wealth and power in certain countries, while leaving other countries behind. Governments can use economic policies to manage the impacts of international trade. For example, they can impose tariffs or quotas on imports to protect domestic industries and workers. They can also provide support for workers who have lost their jobs due to trade, such as job retraining programs and unemployment benefits. Additionally, governments can use trade agreements and regulations to ensure that trade is conducted in a fair and sustainable manner, with protections for workers and the environment. International trade is also impacted by global economic and political conditions, such as the COVID-19 pandemic, trade wars, and changing geopolitical relationships. For example, the COVID-19 pandemic has disrupted global supply chains and led to decreased demand for certain goods and services, while trade wars and changing political relationships have led to increased uncertainty and volatility in the global economy.
Why unemployment rates matter and how they're measured. Unemployment is a key economic indicator that measures the percentage of the labor force that is not currently employed but is actively seeking employment. Unemployment rates matter because they provide insight into the health of the labor market and the overall state of the economy. High unemployment rates can indicate a weak labor market and a struggling economy, while low unemployment rates can indicate a strong labor market and a growing economy. Unemployment rates are typically calculated and reported by government agencies, such as the Bureau of Labor Statistics in the United States. To measure unemployment, the labor force is divided into three categories: employed, unemployed, and not in the labor force. The employed category includes people who have a job, while the unemployed category includes people who do not have a job but are actively seeking employment. The not in the labor force category includes people who are not employed and are not actively seeking employment, such as retirees or students. The unemployment rate is calculated by dividing the number of unemployed individuals by the total labor force, employed plus unemployed individuals, and multiplying by 100. For example, if there are 10 million employed individuals and 1 million unemployed individuals, the unemployment rate would be 9.1%. There are several types of unemployment, each of which has different causes and implications for the economy. The most common types of unemployment include frictional unemployment, structural unemployment, and cyclical unemployment. Frictional unemployment occurs when workers are in between jobs, such as when they have recently graduated from school or have quit their job to look for a better one. Frictional unemployment is generally considered to be a natural part of the job market and is not necessarily a cause for concern. Structural unemployment occurs when there is a mismatch between the skills of workers and the available jobs, such as when workers lack the necessary education or training for available jobs. Structural unemployment can be more difficult to address than frictional unemployment, as it may require significant investment in education and training programs. Cyclical unemployment occurs when there is a downturn in the economy, such as during a recession, and businesses are forced to lay off workers due to decreased demand for goods and services. Cyclical unemployment can have significant social and economic impacts, as it can lead to decreased consumer spending, increased government spending on social welfare programs, and decreased tax revenues. Unemployment rates can also have important implications for other economic indicators, such as inflation and interest rates. For example, high unemployment rates can lead to decreased consumer spending, which can lead to lower demand for goods and services and lower prices, deflation. Conversely, low unemployment rates can lead to increased consumer spending, which can lead to higher demand for goods and services and higher prices, inflation. Governments and policymakers can use various tools to address high unemployment rates and stimulate job growth, such as fiscal policies, such as tax cuts or increased government spending on infrastructure projects, and monetary policies, such as lowering interest rates to stimulate borrowing and investment.
The Federal Reserve, how it works and its impact on the economy. The Federal Reserve, also known as the Fed, is the central bank of the United States. It plays a critical role in the economy by setting monetary policy, regulating banks and financial institutions, and maintaining the stability of the financial system. The Fed was created in 1913 to address issues of financial instability and to provide a flexible and stable monetary system. It is governed by a board of governors, who are appointed by the President of the United States and confirmed by the Senate. The Fed operates independently of the federal government, but its policies can have significant impacts on the economy. One of the primary functions of the Fed is to set monetary policy, which involves managing the supply of money and credit in the economy to promote price stability and maximum employment. The Fed's main tool for implementing monetary policy is the federal funds rate, which is the interest rate that banks charge each other for overnight loans. By changing the federal funds rate, the Fed can influence the cost of borrowing and lending in the economy, which can in turn impact economic activity. The Fed also plays a critical role in regulating banks and financial institutions, with the goal of ensuring the safety and soundness of the financial system. The Fed conducts regular examinations of banks and other financial institutions to assess their financial health and to identify any potential risks to the stability of the financial system. In addition, the Fed sets rules and regulations for banks and other financial institutions, with the goal of promoting transparency and fairness in the financial sector. Another important function of the Fed is to maintain the stability of the financial system, particularly during times of crisis. For example, during the 2008 financial crisis, the Fed took a number of extraordinary measures to stabilize the financial system, including providing emergency loans to banks and implementing new lending programs to provide liquidity to the financial markets. The actions of the Fed can have significant impacts on the economy, both in the short term and the long term. For example, when the Fed lowers interest rates, it can stimulate borrowing and investment, which can lead to increased economic activity and job creation. On the other hand, when the Fed raises interest rates, it can slow down borrowing and investment, which can lead to decreased economic activity and job losses. Therefore, the Fed must carefully consider the potential impacts of its policies on the economy. In addition, the Fed's policies can impact inflation and the value of the dollar. When the Fed increases the supply of money in the economy, it can lead to inflation, as there is more money chasing the same amount of goods and services. Conversely, when the Fed decreases the supply of money in the economy, it can lead to deflation, as there is less money chasing the same amount of goods and services. The value of the dollar can also be impacted by the Fed's policies, as changes in interest rates and the supply of money can impact the value of the dollar relative to other currencies.
The role of taxes in the economy. Taxes play a critical role in the economy by providing funding for government programs and services, influencing economic behavior, and promoting social and economic equity. Tax policies can impact everything from consumer behavior to business decisions to government spending priorities. One of the primary functions of taxes is to provide funding for government programs and services. Governments use tax revenue to pay for things like public education, healthcare, infrastructure, and national defense. Tax policies can also impact government spending priorities, as certain taxes may be earmarked for specific programs or services. Taxes can also influence economic behavior, both at the individual and business level. For example, taxes on certain goods or services, such as cigarettes or alcohol, can discourage consumption, while tax incentives for certain activities, such as home ownership or renewable energy investment, can encourage certain behaviors. Additionally, taxes can impact business decisions, as taxes on profits or investment may impact a company's decision to expand or invest in new projects. Another important role of taxes is promoting social and economic equity. Tax policies can be used to redistribute wealth from higher-income individuals and corporations to lower-income individuals and social programs. For example, progressive tax systems, where higher-income individuals pay a larger percentage of their income in taxes, can help reduce income inequality and provide funding for social programs like healthcare and education. However, taxes can also have negative impacts on the economy. High taxes can lead to decreased consumer spending and decreased business investment, as consumers and businesses have less money to spend or invest. Additionally, taxes can create administrative burdens for individuals and businesses, as they must comply with complex tax laws and regulations. Governments can use various types of taxes to achieve different economic and social goals. The most common types of taxes include income taxes, sales taxes, and property taxes. Income taxes are taxes on the income of individuals and corporations. They can be progressive, where higher-income individuals pay a larger percentage of their income in taxes, or flat, where everyone pays the same percentage of their income in taxes. Income taxes can be used to redistribute wealth and fund government programs and services. Sales taxes are taxes on the purchase of goods and services. They are typically imposed at the state or local level and can vary widely depending on the location and type of goods or services being purchased. Sales taxes can impact consumer behavior and can be used to fund state and local government programs. Property taxes are taxes on the value of real estate and other property. They are typically used to fund local government programs and services, such as schools and public safety. Property taxes can impact the cost of home ownership and can be controversial, as some property owners may feel that they are paying more than their fair share.
The history of economic crises and what we can learn from them. Economic crises, such as recessions and depressions, have occurred throughout history and have had significant impacts on individuals, businesses, and governments. These crises can be caused by a variety of factors, including financial bubbles, wars, and natural disasters. However, they often share common characteristics and can provide valuable lessons for individuals and policymakers. One of the most well-known economic crises in history is the Great Depression, which lasted from 1929 to 1939 and had a significant impact on the global economy. The Great Depression was caused in part by a stock market crash but was also the result of a number of broader economic and social factors, including high unemployment, low consumer confidence, and a decline in international trade. The Great Depression taught policymakers the importance of managing inflation, promoting job growth, and regulating financial institutions to prevent excessive risk-taking. In more recent times, the 2008 financial crisis was another significant economic crisis that had widespread impacts on the global economy. The financial crisis was caused in part by a housing bubble in the United States, which led to a collapse in the housing market and widespread defaults on mortgages. This in turn led to a crisis in the financial sector, as banks and other financial institutions suffered losses and struggled to stay afloat. The financial crisis taught policymakers the importance of monitoring financial markets, regulating risky financial practices, and providing support for struggling businesses and individuals. Other economic crises throughout history include the hyperinflation in Germany after World War I, the oil crisis of the 1970s, and the Asian financial crisis of the late 1990s. While each of these crises had unique causes and impacts, they all highlight the importance of understanding economic cycles, managing risk, and taking a long-term approach to economic planning and decision-making. So, what can we learn from these economic crises? Firstly, we can learn the importance of understanding economic cycles and recognizing the signs of a potential crisis. This can involve monitoring economic indicators such as inflation rates, unemployment rates, and consumer confidence, as well as staying informed about global economic trends and events. Secondly, we can learn the importance of managing risk and promoting financial stability. This can involve implementing regulations and safeguards to prevent excessive risk-taking in the financial sector, as well as promoting diversification and resilience in the broader economy. Thirdly, we can learn the importance of taking a long-term approach to economic planning and decision-making. This can involve investing in education and training programs to build a skilled workforce, promoting innovation and entrepreneurship, and investing in infrastructure and other long-term projects that can promote economic growth and stability.
The pros and cons of economic globalization. Economic globalization refers to the increasing interconnectedness of national economies around the world, driven by the growth of international trade, investment, and communication. While globalization has led to several benefits, such as increased economic growth and job creation, it has also been associated with a number of challenges, including increased inequality and environmental degradation. One of the primary benefits of economic globalization is increased economic growth and job creation. By opening markets and promoting international trade and investment, globalization can help businesses expand their customer base and access new sources of capital, which can in turn lead to increased economic activity and job creation. Globalization can also lead to greater efficiency and specialization in production, as businesses can take advantage of comparative advantages in different countries. However, globalization has also been associated with several challenges and negative consequences. One of the primary challenges is increased inequality, both within and between countries. While globalization has led to increased economic growth, it has also contributed to the concentration of wealth and power in the hands of a small number of individuals and corporations. This has led to concerns about the impact of globalization on the middle class and on social and economic mobility. Another challenge associated with globalization is environmental degradation. Increased economic activity and trade can lead to increased resource consumption and pollution, which can have negative impacts on the environment and on public health. Additionally, globalization can lead to a race to the bottom in terms of environmental regulations, as businesses seek to take advantage of lower standards in different countries. Globalization has also been associated with cultural homogenization and the loss of cultural diversity. As global trade and communication continue to grow, there is a risk that local cultures and traditions may be eroded or lost altogether. This has led to concerns about the impact of globalization on cultural identity and social cohesion. Finally, globalization has also contributed to several geopolitical challenges and risks. For example, increased economic interdependence between countries can lead to increased vulnerability to economic shocks and crises. Additionally, globalization can lead to tensions between countries as they compete for access to resources and markets.
The economics of climate change and environmental policy. Climate change and environmental degradation are some of the most pressing challenges facing the world today, with significant economic implications. As the impacts of climate change become increasingly severe, policymakers are under increasing pressure to develop and implement effective environmental policies that can mitigate the risks and costs associated with climate change. One of the primary economic impacts of climate change is the cost of adapting to its effects. As temperatures rise and weather patterns become more extreme, governments, businesses, and individuals will need to invest in infrastructure, technology, and other measures to protect against the impacts of climate change. This can include investments in flood protection, drought-resistant crops, and energy-efficient buildings and transportation. In addition to adaptation costs, climate change can also have significant economic impacts in terms of lost productivity and damage to infrastructure. For example, extreme weather events like hurricanes and floods can cause widespread damage to buildings and infrastructure, leading to significant economic losses. Additionally, the impact of climate change on natural resources and ecosystems can also have significant economic consequences, particularly for industries such as agriculture and fishing. Given these economic impacts, policymakers have developed a range of environmental policies aimed at mitigating the risks and costs of climate change. These policies can take many forms, including carbon taxes, emissions trading schemes, and regulations on greenhouse gas emissions. Carbon taxes are a type of environmental policy that puts a price on carbon emissions. By imposing a tax on emissions, governments can incentivize businesses and individuals to reduce their carbon footprint and invest in clean energy alternatives. This can help to reduce greenhouse gas emissions and mitigate the risks associated with climate change. Another common environmental policy is emissions trading, which involves creating a market for carbon credits. Under an emissions trading scheme, businesses are given a certain number of carbon credits that they can use to offset their emissions. If they exceed their allocated credits, they must purchase additional credits on the market. This creates an economic incentive for businesses to reduce their emissions and invest in cleaner technologies. Regulations on greenhouse gas emissions are another common environmental policy aimed at mitigating the risks of climate change. Governments can set limits on the amount of greenhouse gases that businesses and industries are allowed to emit and enforce penalties for non-compliance. This can help to reduce emissions and promote investment in cleaner technologies. While environmental policies can have significant economic benefits in terms of mitigating the risks and costs of climate change, they can also have economic costs. For example, carbon taxes and emissions trading schemes can increase the cost of energy and other goods, which can lead to higher prices for consumers. Additionally, regulations on emissions can impose administrative burdens on businesses and lead to reduced competitiveness in certain industries. However, many economists argue that the benefits of environmental policies outweigh the costs, particularly in the long term. By reducing the risks and costs of climate change, environmental policies can help to promote economic stability and growth, while also protecting the environment and promoting social and economic equity.
The impact of technology on the economy and job market. Technology has had a profound impact on the economy and job market over the past few decades. While technological advancements have led to increased productivity and efficiency, they have also led to significant changes in the labor market, with both positive and negative consequences. One of the primary benefits of technology in the economy has been increased productivity. By automating tasks and streamlining processes, technology has helped businesses to produce goods and services more efficiently, which has in turn led to increased economic growth and job creation. Additionally, technology has enabled businesses to reach new customers and markets, which has expanded opportunities for growth and innovation. However, technology has also led to significant changes in the labor market, with some jobs becoming obsolete and new jobs being created. For example, automation and artificial intelligence have replaced many low-skilled jobs in manufacturing and other industries, while creating new jobs in fields such as software development and data analysis. This shift in the labor market has led to concerns about the impact of technology on employment and income inequality. While technology has created new opportunities for high-skilled workers, it has also led to a decline in the number of middle-skilled jobs, which can lead to greater income inequality and social and economic instability. Additionally, technology has also led to changes in work itself, with many workers now engaged in non-standard or freelance work. This can provide greater flexibility and autonomy for workers, but can also lead to greater job insecurity and reduced access to benefits such as healthcare and retirement savings. Despite these challenges, many economists believe that the benefits of technology in the economy outweigh the costs. By increasing productivity and efficiency, technology can help to create new opportunities for growth and innovation, while also improving living standards for individuals and communities. To maximize the benefits of technology in the economy, policymakers must work to address the challenges associated with technological change. This can involve investing in education and training programs to help workers develop the skills needed to thrive in a rapidly changing job market. It can also involve implementing policies to support workers who are displaced by automation and other technological advancements, such as job training programs and income support. Additionally, policymakers must work to ensure that the benefits of technological change are shared equitably. This can involve implementing policies to promote social and economic equity, such as progressive taxation and universal basic income programs.
The future of work, how the economy is changing. The future of work is rapidly evolving as technological advancements and other economic and social changes continue to shape the global economy. As we move towards a more automated and digitally driven economy, the nature of work is changing, with significant implications for individuals, businesses, and society as a whole. One of the primary drivers of change in the future of work is automation and artificial intelligence. As machines become more capable of performing complex tasks, many jobs are becoming obsolete, particularly those that involve routine manual or cognitive tasks. This shift is leading to greater demand for workers with skills in areas such as programming, data analysis, and other specialized fields. Another trend shaping the future of work is the growing importance of the gig economy and other non-standard work arrangements. Many workers are now engaged in freelance or contract work, which can provide greater flexibility and autonomy but can also lead to greater job insecurity and reduced access to benefits such as healthcare and retirement savings. In addition to these changes in the labor market, the future of work is also being shaped by broader economic and social trends, such as globalization, urbanization, and demographic shifts. As the world becomes more interconnected and mobile, businesses and workers are increasingly competing on a global stage, which can lead to greater pressure on wages and employment opportunities. Given these changes, the future of work will require a different set of skills and abilities than in the past. Workers will need to be adaptable, flexible, and able to learn new skills quickly in response to changing market demands. Additionally, workers will need to be able to collaborate with others and work effectively in diverse and multicultural teams. To prepare for the future of work, policymakers and businesses must work together to develop policies and strategies that can promote economic growth and job creation while also protecting the interests of workers. This can involve investing in education and training programs to help workers develop the skills needed to thrive in a rapidly changing job market. It can also involve implementing policies to support workers who are displaced by technological advancements or other economic shifts, such as job training programs and income support. Additionally, policymakers and businesses must work to ensure that the benefits of economic growth and technological change are shared equitably. This can involve implementing policies to promote social and economic equity, such as progressive taxation and universal basic income programs. It can also involve promoting diversity and inclusion in the workplace to ensure that all workers have equal opportunities to succeed.
How economic policy shapes society and politics. Economic policy plays a critical role in shaping society and politics. By influencing the distribution of wealth and income, economic policy can have a significant impact on social and economic outcomes, including poverty rates, income inequality, and overall well-being. One of the primary ways that economic policy shapes society and politics is through its impact on income and wealth inequality. Policies such as tax rates, social welfare programs, and minimum wage laws can significantly impact the distribution of income and wealth, which can in turn have important implications for social and political outcomes. For example, high levels of income and wealth inequality can lead to social and political instability, as individuals and groups may become disenfranchised or feel left behind by economic growth. Additionally, inequality can lead to reduced social mobility and opportunity, as individuals from low-income backgrounds may struggle to access education, healthcare, and other resources needed to succeed. Economic policy can also impact society and politics through its impact on economic growth and stability. Policies such as fiscal stimulus and monetary policy can influence the overall level of economic activity, which can impact employment rates, inflation, and other important economic indicators. Additionally, economic policy can also impact society and politics through its impact on environmental sustainability and other social issues. Policies aimed at mitigating climate change and other environmental challenges, for example, can have important implications for economic growth, social equity, and overall well-being. Given the significant impact of economic policy on society and politics, policymakers must carefully consider the social and political implications of their policy decisions. This can involve considering the potential impact of policy on income and wealth inequality, social mobility, and other important social and economic outcomes. Additionally, policymakers must work to ensure that the benefits of economic growth and development are shared equitably across all members of society. This can involve implementing policies to promote social and economic equity, such as progressive taxation and social welfare programs. Furthermore, policymakers must also work to address the challenges associated with technological change and other economic shifts, such as the displacement of workers and the emergence of new forms of work. This can involve investing in education and training programs to help workers develop the skills needed to succeed in a rapidly changing job market, as well as implementing policies to support workers who are displaced by technological advancements or other economic shifts. In conclusion, economic policy plays a critical role in shaping society and politics. By influencing the distribution of wealth and income, economic policy can have a significant impact on social and economic outcomes, including poverty rates, income inequality, and overall well-being. Policymakers must carefully consider the social and political implications of their policy decisions and work to ensure that the benefits of economic growth and development are shared equitably across all members of society. Additionally, policymakers must work to address the challenges associated with technological change and other economic shifts to ensure that all individuals and communities can thrive in a rapidly changing economic landscape.
Summary. In this work, we covered a range of topics related to economics and finance. We began by discussing the importance of understanding the economy, including the role of supply and demand, inflation, and free market economies. We also explored the concept of gross domestic product, GDP, and the impact of international trade on the economy. We then turned our attention to the Federal Reserve and its impact on the economy, as well as the role of taxes in the economy. We discussed the history of economic crises and the lessons we can learn from them, as well as the pros and cons of economic globalization. Another topic we covered was the economics of climate change and environmental policy, including the potential impact on economic growth and social and economic equity. We also explored the impact of technology on the economy and job market, including the benefits of increased productivity and efficiency, as well as the potential challenges associated with job displacement and income inequality. Finally, we discussed the future of work and how the economy is changing, including the impact of automation, artificial intelligence, and the growing importance of the gig economy and other non-standard work arrangements. We also explored the ways in which economic policy can shape society and politics, including its impact on income and wealth inequality, economic growth and stability, and social and environmental issues. Throughout our discussion, we emphasized the importance of policymakers carefully considering the social and political implications of their policy decisions and working to ensure that the benefits of economic growth and development are shared equitably across all members of society. Additionally, we highlighted the need for investment in education and training programs to help workers develop the skills needed to succeed in a rapidly changing job market and support for workers who are displaced by technological advancements or other economic shifts.